Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm Mitch from BD Audio, where we like to dyno amps down under. On today's episode, I have the notorious Soundstream XXX-4000d Tarantula series. This is an iconic amp from the late 2000s. Specifically, this was released in 2009 and still sells to this current date. And to be honest, it's very big and chunky. For amps that you can get nowadays, as far as like a 3,000 to 4,000 watt RMS amp, you can get amps almost a third of the size of this thing. It is absolutely massive. Let me give you the measurements. It is 570 mil wide by 300 mil deep and 70 mil high. It is a big amp. And to be honest, it's a big heatsink. As you can see, comparing my hand, it is an absolute monster. Almost to the point where you think that it might be a barbecue grill. And yes, I would love to be able to turn this into a barbecue if it blows up on this dyno test. Now, as far as ratings go for this amplifier, there's a lot of skeptical. There's a couple of different posts from Facebook or websites. Even the manual sort of doesn't really know what it wants or how it wants it. It says that it's a 4000. Some websites advertise that it does 3300. In the manual, it only says that it does 2800. And there's a lot of skeptical on whether these are a 12 volt, 14 volt, or 16 volt amplifier. It does state that it ranges anywhere from 11 to 16 volt. So when we're going to be testing this amplifier today, we're going to be testing at 15.5 volts. Now, if you didn't see in the last episode, I did post a video explaining a big LTO bank that I was building. That has now been piggybacked with my initial bank. So I have a huge lithium bank now that even with a 4,000 watt burst, hypothetically speaking, that will still hold well above 15 volt. So I don't see an issue with us trying to hold 15 to 15.5 volt. But whether it will actually make that power, we're going to find out. Now, on this side of the amplifier, you do have your 8-gauge speaker inputs. You also have an 8-gauge remote. And you do have some standard 1-aught 0-gauge inputs. However, if you plan on running dual inputs, which a lot of people are doing these days because they're nice and cost effective, you will notice there is almost no spacing between this. I'll throw up some photos of when I had it up on the dyno. I actually wrapped these in electrical tape and I had a business card slid in between. Now you can see that only just fits. But with the tape, I wasn't actually able to pull the business card out. That's how tight the gap is. So if you're going to run this amp, I really would suggest wrapping these, or at least one, in electrical tape just to be safe. Because it doesn't take much when you're undoing these for one to accidentally fall sideways. I'm not going to do it because the caps are probably still live. But you accidentally loosen it too quickly and it goes cockeyed, bang, there you go. Short terminals, it'll just go straight onto that and touch and boom, amp will blow up. So really pay attention to them. Whether you're going to use them or not, it's up to you. Maybe try and find yourself one of these styles where they're offset and it will fit a whole bunch of 0-gauge. You can see that that one does fit as well. So definitely look at investing covering your inputs when putting them that close together. Now on this side of the amplifier, you have your power and protect LED. You have your line in and line out RCA standard because it's just no panel mount or Tiffany style. Then you have your phase shift, you have your gain or your level, subsonic, low pass, bass boost, your master and your slave switch, which means that this can be strapped because it is a half bridge. How much of a half bridge? I don't know, but I believe they're made in China. So they're not a traditional Korean half bridge, but we'll see how they go power ratings. Then you have a data link plug, which I believe is the strapping tool to help you do that. And then you have your bass remote via telephone cable. But that's enough talking. Let's strap this thing up to the dyno and see if it really makes that 4,000 watts. Right, it's that time of night where we're going to rip the back of this off and show you the insides. Let's check out that half-bridge goodness. And with the power of editing, and there we go, guys. That's the inside. So on the first glance, there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of empty space on the board, and it presents quite nicely. Gold-plated or potentially copper clamps to hold the FETs down, decent amount of caps, 2 transformers. To me, this doesn't look like a 4000 watt. To me, this sort of looks like a 2000 watt at best. But it's well presented, it looks nice. I suppose that's all that matters. It is a very generic style board. Bear Vids actually did show off one. I'll show you a real quick snippet of it, and I'll post up the video that it is presented in.
This is a what even is this? It's a Class D monoblock ultra efficient amplifier, 1 ohm stable, variable subsonic low pass filter, 5,500 watts. But there's no brand.
In his model, it was just a very basic no-name brand, which was quite cheap and didn't believe that it would make that much power. So I'll throw a video up in this corner of his, and I'll timestamp it. That way you can skip to the part of it where he repairs it, potentially even does more damage to it than it deserved. And yeah, go check it out. I'll give you a flyover now. Well, that's all we have time for today, folks. If you do like what we do on this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications. And as always, thanks for tuning in. This is Mitch from BD Audio, where we like to dyno amps down under. I'm tuning out. See ya!